Just fill that in with a little bit of lecture in history. And one of the things that I'm going to do is kind of talk a little bit about what Aikido is. Aikido was founded by a man named Morihei Ueshiba, a Japanese man who was born in 1883 in the town of Tanabe in the prefecture of Wakayama on the main island of Honshu. And his major life's work was the creation of Aikido, which is a martial art based on non-conflict, based on harmony, based on love. Okay, that was something that many people thought was impossible. But what we're going to do a little bit is we're going to illustrate a couple of things since we have the dead time. Okay, so what we're going to do... Hello? Yes, I'm here. I'm going to ask some people, we're going to go through some principles. Okay? So one thing we're going to do is I want Sandy to stand facing me. Okay? And I'm going to give her about 4 pounds of pressure, but I just want you to stand without a center. Okay? Okay, now what I want you to do is push back. If she's pushing this direction, she's off balance right back. Now, what she's going to do is she's going to focus on a point of balance that's not outside, but it's inside her. So the seika atanden, which is about 2 inches below the navel. And I'm going to push with that same amount of force. You see there's a balance here. Okay? All right? It's very important in Aikido to keep the accord of mind and body. And that's really what's happening. See, her concept is that she's not physically opposing my push, nor is she mentally in an unfocused state. She's standing with her mind and her body focused on just being present when she focuses on that point. Now I'm going to ask her to do something a little harder, which is to stand on one leg. We try this one. Okay? Now, for this one, I'm going to push. Okay? I'm going to push. And I am going to have her focus on the center. This is going to be real hard for her. All right? Okay. You know what she's doing? Show them that without the elbows. Okay? Right? Extend. No. Put the elbows out. But don't extend back through the. I'll show you that. So just the center. See, just here, even though she's pretty centered, that's one leg. Now, what she's going to do is she's going to not just have a center, she's going to extend her ki or vital force back at me as I push. And she's actually taking quite a bit of force right here. So you see what happens when she stays calm and settles in the situation, doesn't fight it? Okay? Thank you. Now what we're going to show also is that same principle of extension. Let's say he puts his arm out and he forms a fist. This is non-Aikido. Don't let me bend it. It's going to be pretty hard for him to stop that. But when he extends out, does not oppose my power, but extends his vital force out like a fire hose. I'm going to try to bend that hose. He's very strong. Now we're showing him this trick. Okay, he's going to push on my little finger here. Push as hard as you can. Okay, all right. Obviously that's a mismatch. You're going physically bigger than he is. He's got much more power than I have in my hand. But I want him to push as hard as he can. All right, push. See, what I'm doing is extending his power back. I'm not opposing it with counterforce because he has more power in his arm than I have in my little finger. But if I can extend, push, his power is reversed back on him. You see how that works? That takes a certain amount of the ability to settle and stay calm and in balance under pressure. Thank you. Got it. Okay, and again, we're using the Aikido of San Jose teens and children as. And what I'm going to do here is demonstrate with her what a blend is. See, I'm going to grab her and I try to move your wrist just with your arm. It's going to be very difficult because, presently, as I'm here, I'm stronger than she is, I'm bigger than she is. But what she's going to do is relax. See, in order to grab her, I must extend my force out. And if she's able to turn with that force, all of a sudden, she's directing my power. You see? That's a principle that's very key in Aikido. Instead of confrontation, we use harmony, we blend. So, the same thing, I'm going to have you just use your arm to try to move. It's going to be very difficult. Now relax and blend with me. Move your body. Okay. You see, by pivoting to the side and stepping slightly behind me with a turn, she starts to join with my power. Now she can lead that power. Okay? So we're going to show you a number of things when the mats do get here. Okay? But until then, Steve, why don't you come out for a second, friend? The founder was a man of, again, the 19th century. So he was somebody who studied quite a bit of weaponry. Now, the blending concept, obviously, this can represent not just a staff, but in Japanese it could be a yari, a spear with a cutting edge and a point at the end. Okay? So one of the things we can do here is to blend. I want you to see right here if I try to oppose him with something, especially if it's not just a staff, it's something sharp and pointed at the end that would cut and penetrate. You know, I could try to kick him or wrestle him to the ground, but just the fact that that's out there obviously gives him an advantage. But if I'm able to stay somewhat calm here as it's coming, you see, then I can direct his power here, or I can direct his power back. Okay? In Aikido, the key element is finding a balance inside yourself so that you then blend with what's coming at you. And that can be an attacker or it can be a life situation. So Aikido is more than just a quote-unquote fighting art, self-defense art. Okay? Why don't you come out also? Why don't you stay out? Okay? For example, if they're both coming in, yes, okay, all right. If they're both coming in, all right, it's the same principle of blending. You see, if I'm negative in my particular self, I'm trying to get away from them, I draw them. If I try to conflict with them, you know, they have weapons and they have a miracle advantage. But if right here, for example, boom, I'm able to direct their force right back at them. You see, Ueshiba, we call him O-sensei. Sensei is teacher, O-sensei means great teacher. Okay, O-sensei, so we refer to him as O-sensei a lot. He was somebody who studied the arts, the traditional martial arts of Japan, but he also was into the study of religions, mysticism. So he wanted to come up not with purely another martial art or a new religion. He wanted to come up with something that actually synthesized the whole thing. He was a martial artist, and he had an interest in spirituality and in economics and politics and agriculture. He wasn't just somebody who saw martial arts as dominating and winning. So he achieved a state of what people might call enlightenment. So you see, his power is coming your way, and what you want to be able to do is to keep your center with it. Now, from that particular center here, you see, he can be directed into. Okay? So when we get the mats, what you'll be seeing is a presentation largely of unarmed, one person attacking another person, and that person, the attacker, is thrown. But those are the principles that we try to bring out in the training. One of the things that we can do, for example, let's just say, now he's coming at me in a much less threatening way than with a staff, okay? But what I can do by stepping back is neutralize his power by directing it down. I want you to see how if I, however, am holding any tension or fear, see, I must direct the energy or the ki of my own system down. We call that grounding. In situations which are pressure situations, generally the flow tends to come up. So Aikido teaches you to find a balance under pressure, not just under attack. So as he's coming here, if I'm able to define that down or grounded myself, his power is directed out and down in a way that really doesn't hurt me. And if there's a mat present, he doesn't get injured if he knows how to take the fall. You see, so Aikido is an art that is about harmony. If he's coming to grab here, and I just happen, all I'm doing, for example, is not conflicting with his power, but continuing in it a little further than he would expect. And then you might have a way of neutralizing his attack without a counterattack. See, in Aikido we blend, we don't counterattack. Okay? All right? We teach an attack so that a defense or blend can be practiced. So people that tend to kind of look at a lot of the MMA stuff, they don't particularly care for what we do. People that are, however, kind of, I don't know, looking for more than just a fighting art, find that it's actually a very good activity for children, for teens, for adults. We even have seniors training. Okay? Let's see. Of course, those mats are on their way. I can feel them. Okay. One of the things that we can do, for example, here, you may grab with two hands. Okay? Now, this isn't a very good attack because obviously I can resolve it in other more violent ways, but this might represent a situation that has me, you know, in life, okay? So what I'm going to try to do instead of fighting it is find my own balance with it and see if I can draw it into a chord around my center. Okay? This is a technique which was developed during the samurai era because let's just say that he's somebody I'm hunting down and I have a sword, he doesn't. If he's hiding behind a bush or a building and I walk by, what's he going to do? He's going to try to grab the sword in a way that I can't cut him. So, right? That again is the principle of extension. If you fight his power, right? But if you relax, find your own center with it, there's motion. Okay? And again, still waiting for the mats. Let's say he's coming with a showman strike. Aikido does have weapons work in it, but it's not about winning. So as he's coming to strike, what I can do... Right. See, what I'm not doing is trying to block his attack. Okay? What I'm doing is establishing the center and showing if he continues his attack, that it's dangerous for both of us. If he's coming in here, there's an interval that's created. So you see, Aikido, see the attack, 1, 2, has a rhythm or timing to it. What I'm doing here is fitting in with his rhythm. Not opposing him. Not trying to superimpose mine upon him. Okay? So, you see the weapons can be seen very easily as combat and a kind of a competitive thing. Aikido is not. Even with the weapons, you are establishing harmony. Now, as he's coming here, this is what we call the circle. You notice right here, what we're doing is a much bigger movement around the edge. Okay? The first movement we did was triangle. A triangle can go back, or a triangle can advance. And what I'm doing right there is not smashing him in the face before he can cut me down. What I'm really trying to do is to show an opening saying, if you attack, there's a vulnerability there. So we're teaching the vulnerability, you see.